We got Alex Konrad coming into the Temple of Technology. Welcome to the show. Congratulations.
Big day. Big day.
Know,
hit the gong
hit
for
the gong.
Upstart.
Let us know what you're announcing, what you're doing. Break it down.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm so excited to announce my new startup today called Upstarts Media.
Cool.
Upstarts Media is a new tech media publication focused on the startup ecosystem.
Fantastic. What's the angle? What are you doing differently? What are you leveraging? And will there be a list of the best and, more importantly, the worst venture capitalists dropping soon?
I know that I have a customer in you for that for sure.
Yes. The Icarus
basically,
list. We need this.
I'll think about that. Okay. I actually did 25 audience calls ahead of time, and
Yes.
I should have asked that specific question. Should I launch an anti-Midas list? But yeah. For your audience who don't know me, I spent 12 years at Forbes covering venture capital and startups. I really lived in that world, wrote a bunch of cover stories about folks like Melanie Perkins at Canva, the Collison brothers at Stripe. I wrote one about a soft report at Wiz, which has been in the news a lot.
Cool.
Really enjoyed writing about startups and the VCs who fund them. And I felt like we were in a moment where so much traditional tech media coverage is focused on big tech, politics. We have tech people in the White House, big policy debates, not so much on sort of the startups that I really love writing about. I just heard from so many people that it was just hard to kind of get those founder journeys, startup storytelling out there right now. And so I'm hoping to do my small part to just tell those stories.
How do you think about the different products that are offered in the media ecosystem? I mean, most people just think like it's a news article, but once you dive in, you realize like there's investigative journalism, there's breaking news, there's profiles, there's op-eds, there's editorial, there's all this different stuff. How do you think about the landscape and what interests you the most?
Yeah, well, first off, these tech bros showed up and they just completely created a seismic event for us in media. No, but seriously, like jokes aside, I think you guys and a lot of these new brands that have been the most interesting in tech journalism and media right now have kind of come from these adjacent spaces. They haven't been traditional journalists.
Yeah.
We have seen, though, some people go independent and try to kind of get more direct. We keep hearing go direct, from certain founders and PR folks. And I think that's great for certain people. But my hope is that there's still room for curated storytelling from journalists like me who can help, especially those founders who maybe don't have the platform to go direct, and also can just maybe connect the dots in ways that you wouldn't get from some of these awesome podcasts and shows like your own.
Yeah. I really do agree with you. We were talking to Lulu about this yesterday, just the idea of like, yes, you should go direct and post your own news, but then you should also talk to new media like you and me, and us. And then you should also talk to the Wall Street Journal if they come calling. And it's really like an ensemble strategy to build this like cinematic universe around you and what you're doing, if it's important.
Yeah. How do you think about, funny timing. So we talked about this last week, about TechCrunch selling. It was unclear what they were going to do. I think TechCrunch had sort of created this. The thing they did well was like make people's parents proud, right? It was like you wanted to get into TechCrunch. It was just sort of like this moment in every founder's journey. You go there to announce a round or for a product launch or whatever. And they sell to private equity, which people were like, oh, great. Like private equity is just going to come in and, I don't, nobody knew what they were going to do. And then the first TechCrunch headline I see is this like hit piece, drive-by hit piece on 11X, which whether or not it's fair, it's like TechCrunch is in a very weird position around they're, I guess, trying to do investigative journalism, but then they still want to be the place that maybe you launch your startup. Are you trying to pick a lane and saying like, we are pro founder, we are pro tech, we know this is hard, but we want to like, tell your story in an authentic way that makes like, are you looking to really like develop trust with these founders and cover them across their entire career? Is, what is that like? I'm trying to kind of hone in on your specific angle, because I think the temptation is, somebody starts out writing tech positive and then eventually they get some crazy scoop and they're like, oh, this is going to get so many, so many,
the algorithm loves the
subscribers.
Controversy.
Yeah. I'm just going to publish this fund's returns, or whatever. But I'm curious
I hear
how you think about it.
I have like 3 different responses for that, but I can try to keep them short. It's really an important debate, I think. First, I would say our ideology is that Upstarts was founded on the belief that startups are at their best when they punch above their weight, challenge the status quo, try to improve the world in some way. And I think at that core, I believe that technology is great for the planet, great for our daily lives, and I want to write about that. I think at the same time, I am going to be a journalist. I am going to be independent, so I'm not a cheerleader. And just
Yep.
because a lot of my Midas VC pals might be subscribing today, doesn't mean I'm going to suddenly write about their portfolio company or something like that. I want to keep a really impartial and fair view. But that's really what I tried to build in the last 15 years writing about startups, was that sense of trust that you can expect me to be fair, to have sort of the good of the ecosystem at heart. So if I do something that doesn't feel super comfortable, I'd say that's actually a good thing, because you can get that from an amazing VC podcast, or you can get a beautiful marketing video. I might ask questions that push you a little bit, but I am in the ecosystem. I do consider myself a founder of a startup here, and I have that empathy that I'm going to be only punching up really carefully. I'm not going to be punching down. I never want to
Yeah.
get out of bed and be like, what startup am I messing with today?
It's no Gawker 2.0, but I want to talk about like the instantiation of the work that you do. Obviously, you're a writer first and foremost, right? And most people experience your work through Forbes.com, essentially. But have you thought about where that lives? Are you targeting the email inbox? Will there be a printed version? I'd love a coffee table book of the Konrad list maybe this year. I think that would sell really well. I think every single VC firm would probably pay $1,000 for the Konrad printed coffee table book. Sell a lot of those. Are we going to get videos, podcasts? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so it's a little crazy because I am bootstrapping this business at first to kind of
Okay.
control my outcomes and test the product market fit. But I
Sure.
kind of want to do everything you said. I mean, maybe not the coffee table book just yet. That could be
Come
a
on.
year two goal.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be launching a live video series of monthly interviews, very different from what you guys do, but just
Yeah.
a quick, fun interview with the CEO
Cool.
next week. And I'm doing that like my newsletter over Substack, who have been a great partner.
Oh, great.
So I'm working closely with them and going to be publishing twice a week. I also got to shout out, and this might be controversial on this show, but I am going to be working with partners to make sure that one edition of my newsletter is free each week.
Okay.
I want to
Nice.
be proving this can be a sustainable business, but also inclusive to folks who maybe are early career students, founders who are cutting their burn and they want to get high quality news, but they
Yeah.
don't want to pay yet. And so
I
I
mean, we
actually
love
signed a launch
ads.
partner
We're
in
very pro.
Brex.
Oh, okay. I see
Brex
where
is
you're
my
going with
launch
this.
partner,
Okay.
but
Okay.
always happy to work with others down the road. But yeah, I mean, that's basically the way I'm thinking about this: is multiple streams, a newsletter.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a podcast eventually, but I'm going to be building in public. I'm going to be screwing up a lot. I think
Cool.
that'll be authentic with this audience.
How
You guys will see that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
What's the future of the Forbes brand? It's been in an interesting spot. I'm saying this, you're not saying or confirming this, but I know they've been like on the market trying to sell themselves for a long time. They sold off a bunch of random assets.
Austin Russell was circling.
Forbes book publishing is not really tied to the parent company anymore. It's like very unclear. Like it was an iconic media property. You tried to keep it alive, and
And certainly more brand cachet than TechCrunch, I think. Like the Forbes brand still has a lot of
but it's been diluted
authentication.
over time, and part of if you had stayed and said I'm going to recommit the next decade and sort of bring it back, I'm sure there's a variety of factors that didn't allow for that. But what happens with Forbes? I know you probably can't.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give your most sort of positive perspective on it.
Upstarts is acquiring Forbes in
Oh,
2026. No, I'm
you
kidding.
heard it here first.
There we go.
Scoop.
No,
Scoop.
but
Death
to
knell.
answer Jordy a little more seriously, I started covering startups in 2010.
Yeah.
TechCrunch was a giant. VentureBeat was a giant. Forbes,
Yeah.
the website was still very siloed. So was Fortune's. Like, media has changed a ton in the past decade plus. I think like people forget that the Midas list was actually started in 2000. So it way predated
it died
me,
off too.
and
They
it
were
will
big- they were
outlive us
gap
all,
years.
whether VCs like that or not.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
that makes sense. What do you think what's the future of Substack? They went through this kind of period of massive hype, and then there was a period where every media platform was attacking them, and then it seems like they've come out of it, and now people are deciding to go on and build real businesses from day one on the platform. What's your take on are they having real network effects? Like, do you think their sort of existing audiences there are going to help you accelerate your growth faster? Maybe kind of break down the decision to start there versus working,
Yeah.
ground up on a Beehive or one of these other products?
I think it's good if there are multiple options out there and that they get better and better. And I think companies like Beehive are pushing Substack to update their own technology. From a technical component, I was really impressed with Beehive. Ultimately, Substack was where a lot of my peers, a lot of the folks I think are startup curious are today. It is, I think, an effective social network. And so when I was thinking about who I wanted to partner with, that was really important for me. Other journalists, other writers who are in the ecosystem who aren't journalists. I hope that we can collaborate. They can, send their audiences back and forth. And I think, what they're doing in video notes, they're trying to kind of adapt and have new ways to reach audiences. And that's going to be a huge priority for me.
Awesome.
I had a crazy idea. I pitched another writer. I want to get your take on the 30 under 30 list it's controversial, but I think generally like there's a lot of people that want to be on it. They're excited and then they get frustrated when they turn 31 or they're ineligible. My idea was every week for the full year, you post, here are 20 cracked 20-year-olds. And then the next week it's, here are 21 really great 21-year-olds. Here's the 22-year-olds. And you're just chronicling all the great people in tech. It's an opportunity to get on a list every single week. It's massive viral fuel. Do you like the idea, and can we expect it from your media empire in the near future?
I promised everyone I would wait at least 2 quarters before I shipped a crazy list. So
Okay.
I got to add that to the product roadmap. But I
Okay.
do want to cover
Little non-compete going
non-CEOs.
on.
I think there are a lot of cool people in startups
totally.
who we don't ever hear from.
Totally
So,
the operators, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, I mean, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on the launch. We'll definitely stay tuned. We'll have to have you back when you break a big story or do a wonderful
And it'll be my goal to have you guys on my show someday.
Fantastic.
So we'll see
We'd be
that
happy
too.
to do it.
Yeah, we're
Cool.
down,
Thanks,
but we
guys.
will also be streaming
Yeah.
our show at the
We'll
same
be
time.
streaming.
We'll have dual syndication.
I love it. Well, thanks so
Love
much
it,
for stopping by. Good luck.
Congrats
to you.
again.
Congrats again.
Talk soon.
We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys. Thank you.
Bye.